This example is giving us a limit problem to solve here. So classic little limit problem. We've got limit as x approaches 5 of x squared minus 25 over x squared minus 2x minus 15. I always tell people option one on any limit problem is just to try plugging in this x value everywhere. And if you're lucky, then everything works out and you get a nice pretty number and it's all over. Well, on this one, you can see that that's not going to go our way. When I plug in 5 for x everywhere, I'm going to get 0 on top, which is not a big deal. You can have 0 on the top of a fraction, but the real trouble comes on the bottom here when I plug in 5. So I end up with 0 over 0 in this situation. So that means option 1 failed. And it failed because of the division by 0 on bottom here. After trying option 1 real fast, I normally then on something like this where I've got two what you would call quadratics, two functions that look with these x squareds here. These things look like they can be factored. And so this is when I would go to option 2, which I just call factor and cancel. Looking at the top of this, this is what's known as the difference of two squares. It is a classic little factoring technique that you have to have down for the AP Calc test. You need to know how to do this. It's anytime you've got something squared minus and then something that has a nice pretty square root, this is always going to be x plus that square root and x minus that square root. I mean, it just works across the board. You've got to be able to look at that and be like, okay, that's x plus 3, x minus 3. So here, we are looking at the difference of two squares. This one's going to factor down to being x plus 5 and then x minus 5. On the bottom, we're looking at a classic little factoring situation. Oftentimes, people kind of like setting themselves up a little x here to help make it a little easier to see. So we're looking for what multiplies together to give us negative 15, and then what's going to add to give us negative 2. And then from there, you've got to, you're kind of trying to fill those boxes in. So two numbers that multiply together to give us negative 15 and add to positive or to negative 2. So that's going to end up being negative 5 and 3. Again, knowing how to factor is a critical skill when you're going into this AP Calc test. If you can't factor quickly and cleanly, it's going to definitely be to your detriment. So take the time to learn how to factor, do a bunch of factoring. So this is going to become x minus 5 and then x plus 3 for the other one. And now, so that's the factor portion of this problem. And then we're going to look to cancel. And sure enough, I've got an x minus 5 on top and an x minus 5 on bottom. And now that everybody's being multiplied, I can cancel those things out. So the x minus 5s are going to cancel out. And then as I rewrite this, I'm looking at limit as x approaches 5 of x plus 5 times x plus 3. And now I am right back to option 1 after I do that move. If everything worked out, I should just be able to plug in 5 for x everywhere and get out an answer. So plugging in 5 for x on top, I get 5 plus 5. Plugging in 5 for x on the bottom, I get 5 plus 3. So out of there, I'm going to end up with 10 over 8, and that can be reduced. I can take a 2 out of everybody, so taking a 2 out of the top is going to leave me with a 5. Taking 2 out of the bottom is going to leave me with a 4. And so there I am at 5 over 4. That's going to be my final answer. Factoring, factoring, factoring. You got to know how to factor going into the AP Calc test. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.